All right, ladies and gentlemen, this feels too casual. Let me know if this is too casual. We are doing five most plausible 2026 NFL Draft Day trades. This is the content for the day. I'm on Bleacher Report. You can't see this article. It's from Brent Sobolski, and I figured it's perfect. It's Sunday. I've never really done stuff like this, but if it's like Kenny Beecham, like in the NBA world, this is like everybody's content. So I figured I'm not going to read this article. This video could end up being a complete bust, but let's do our reaction video. It's Sunday night here. It's 7:17. We've got girls making phenomenal spaghetti and meatballs here. I'm playing golf tomorrow morning on Monday, so I'm not sure if this is a Sunday or Monday video. Thank you. 2 subscribers away from 200. I draft day trades. I mean, there's really no point in even talking about this, in my opinion. But like I said, hopefully it's entertaining. We're just going to get through this. The Arizona Cardinals trade up for a quarterback. Are there no specifics? There's no specifics. We're just doing broad stuff here. And of course, you can't see this here. The Cardinals have the 34th pick in the draft, so they're not talking about in the first round. They're talking about right away in the second round, and they're saying that they're going to trade up and take a guy like Ty Simpson here. I really want Ty Simpson to be a New York Jet. At the same time, I don't really mind if he's an Arizona Cardinal. It really doesn't matter. The Cardinals, the blueprint's there for, like, just on paper in a Madden simulation, it works. I understand you're going to deploy Jacoby Brissett here, maybe draft a guy like Garrett Nussmeier in the third round, or apparently trading into the first round and taking Ty Simpson. I would love them to take a gamble like that. I think that is what you should do. They've got a brand new rookie head coach, LaFleur. He is going to come in here, bring in a nice run scheme. They've got a bunch of running backs. You've got Trey McBride. You've got Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got Michael Wilson. They've got just this phenomenal offensive weaponry of potential and also talent. Like, Trey McBride is a stud. And then we're all kind of waiting for Marvin Harrison Jr. There's so many, like Trey Benson still on this team. And the reason I say that is just because of trades. It seems like every Bleacher Report and stuff wants them to trade Trey Benson, because they also picked up Tyler Algier in free agency. I would commend them a lot for making a move like this. I don't know who's going to get Ty Simpson, but it does appear to be an Arizona Cardinal or New York Jet. Not sure when it's going to be. Drafts are so difficult. Like, when Will Levis was supposed to be like this top 10 pick, and he fell all the way to the second round right away. Shedeur Sanders was supposed to be a first or second, or at worst a third round draft pick. He fell all the way. Dylan Gabriel wasn't supposed to be a third rounder. There's endless examples, but obviously, whether or not you think Ty Simpson is a round one QB, it's besides the point. They're going to pay if you need a quarterback and you think Ty Simpson has a possibility of being your franchise quarterback, you're going to pay a premium in the first round to take your guy. I would love it. I think it would be super cool, and it would be way more fun than Jacoby Brissett. I'm not in love with the Jacoby Brissett. Cardinals fans have kind of coped their way into thinking like, oh, this is going to work out. I would rather them do something like this, or even I would have them rather gone out there and tried and traded for Mac and Cheddar Cheese Jones, something like that. All right, the next one is the Texans trade out of the first round again. I had a feeling that this article was going to be dumb stuff like this. I don't really care if the Houston Texans trade out of the first round. We're going to just go to the next one. They still need an offensive line, and it is kind of maybe a little bit complicated because they've got the best defense. Are they going to be the best? Are they going to be as crazy of a defense this upcoming season? Probably not. Regardless, for just maintaining the defense or just trying to get that offense, specifically the offensive line, or keeping the offense healthy, keeping Tank Dell healthy, they need to just hit this draft. They need to hit a lot of their draft picks here. That was boring. The New York Jets trade for another QB, and they've got this kind of picture of Ty Simpson here. And I just made a whole Jets video over on Will Upton today because I've even done it on this channel. I didn't love the Frank Reich hire. I don't love Geno Smith at starting QB, but I have started to come along to, all right, well, their defense is going to be significantly better, and I can sit here and nitpick like David Onyemata and Joseph Asai, but I do like Dylan Parham. I do like Tavondre Sweat. I do like, who's the Demario Davis. I do like Nashawn Wright. Their defense is going to be much better than they were one season ago. And offensively, they were in these rumors for trading for Brian Thomas Jr. Like the Jets were in trade rumors at last year's deadline for Brian Thomas Jr. I think that's a really big deal. There also was like Quentin Johnston rumors, Dontavian Wicks, and I'm missing one. It's kind of the boring one of the picks, but just the Jets being aggressive and hearing rumors that they were interested in Brian Thomas Jr. at the deadline and hearing that they're also still interested in the wide receiver trade market, it makes me feel much better about this team. If they've got the second pick and the 16th pick, so they've got just a bunch of draft picks in general. I think it would be so fun if they went out there and drafted Ty Simpson in the first round. I think that would be so fun. And if they made a trade for Brian Thomas Jr., I think that would be epic. Take somebody at pick 2, Arvell Reese, maybe trade down, get even more draft picks, trade to like pick number 7 or 6, whatever it is. I love that. I would love the Jets to make a trade. So that's why I made a Jets video today. And it appears they are being aggressive, and it would not shock me in the slightest if they did, trade up for a quarterback. All right, this next one is the Colts trade for a pass rusher, and the pass rusher is named Jonathan Grenard. Grenard's been in all of these trade rumors. I'm going to assume Grenard didn't have the same type of season he did last year with Minnesota. The whole Vikings defense took a really big hit, more so in the first half of the year because they switched to their defense. They went out there and got Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. And these are pass rush specialists, and they're both old and have injury history. And it was just a much different domination from the Vikings used to unite. You couldn't run against the Vikings 2 years ago. And then last year you could because they had Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. So they cut loose both of those two players. And they've also got Dallas Turner. That's just kind of a ticking time bomb, in my opinion, of this guy's got so much talent. He's so versatile. Dallas Turner is so good at coverage. And he just doesn't see as many snaps on this defense. Even guys like Jalen Redmond on the inside. So they get rid of Jonathan Allen. They get rid of Javon Hargrave. And now Jonathan Grenard's been in all these trade rumors. So I guess this wouldn't be surprising. And if the Colts were to do this, I would commend the Colts for doing it. I mean, we just talked Colts a couple of days ago on Will Upton. I really don't feel good about that team. And they are just making moves willy-nilly. They're throwing crap at the wall and hoping that it sticks. Apparently, they were set to go all in and add Trey Hendrickson to bolster last year's pass rush, and then the whole Max Crosby thing. So they signed Arden Key and Michael Clemens. They still need a pass rusher, and Jonathan Grenard would make sense. The Vikings also, keep in mind, with this trade and the two moves I just mentioned, they were severely undercapped. They were very negative in the cap world. So they had to make something happen. All right, this one's a little interesting. The Cleveland Browns trade for Brian Thomas Jr. You see some trades, like mock trades, and Brian Thomas Jr. is going for a third round, and it's like, I want my Packers to go out there and trade for BTJ. What makes it complicated for this, because it doesn't make sense, Brian Thomas Jr. had such a good rookie season, and then this past year he did not do good, and he's also got a drop issue. They went out and traded for Jacoby Myers from Las Vegas at the deadline, and then they extended him. And they've also got Parker Washington, and then obviously Travis Hunter coming back from his injury, and he plays wide receiver and cornerback. There's a lot of wide receivers in there, and when money becomes a thing where, okay, BTJ is entering his third season, he's going to get paid. Somebody's going to pay him. It doesn't appear to be Jacksonville. They just extended Jacoby Myers. This would be interesting. But some of the mocks are like a third-round draft pick, and that's super underwhelming. You do have to keep in mind, with Jacksonville as well, Trent Baalke, their former GM, James Gladstone stepped in for him last year. Trent Baalke, they have like $50 million in dead cap. So Jacksonville's kind of handcuffed, and you haven't seen them go out there and make like any moves other than, like Chris Rodriguez. They haven't really made any moves. So outside of losing Devin Lloyd and losing Travis Etienne, their money is tied up in dead cap, and they don't really have draft picks because they traded for Travis, or they moved up in last year's draft for Travis Hunter. So they don't have a first round pick. They don't have that many picks, and they're kind of screwed in money. So Jacksonville's just had this really underwhelming offseason, and you will probably see some regression just because they also went 13-4 and exceeded expectations, more difficult schedule next season. Defenses adjust just numerous reasons, and maintaining 13-4 is super difficult. I would anticipate the Bills to get worse if they went 13-4. So this would make sense. A Brian Thomas Jr. trade does. We've heard about it for so long. Last year's deadline, we just talked about the New York Jets trying to trade for him. Whether it's Cleveland or the Jets or a contending team, this would make sense. The Browns, I guess Browns just accumulate talent for whenever the quarterback situation is figured out. I felt like I just lagged my mouth. It's 7:30. This was kind of a stupid article, which I should have proofread it, and I will be proofreading in the future. Just a quick gloss over. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Just want to post more on this channel. And also, we got this new mic, so the quality should be much better. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and let me know if any of these trades interest you.